Good evening, everyone. I'd like to humbly acknowledge the land we live, learn, work, and play is Treaty 8 territory, traditional lands of the Cree and Dene, and unceded territory of the Métis people. For record, we have Councillor Ball and Councillor Cardinal joining us via Teams. If anyone in attendance wishes to address council on any of the agenda items, please register with the Legislative Services Desk located to my right. As well, I'll be calling those who have registered to speak. Following your submission, please remain seated for questions from council. You must register prior to the start of that agenda item. You have 5 minutes to speak, and please remain on topic. As evening before we start tonight's meeting, I'd like to say a few words about the now held wildfire south of Fort McMurray, as well as last week's evacuations. Our community is safe because of the hard work of many people, and some of the help was favorable. So a lot of it was due to the help of the favorable weather we did receive after Tuesday. And it's clear that people that care deep about our home and our community and our neighborhoods were involved. And everyone that cared about this community definitely showed up in force last week and worked and is still working that forest fire as we speak today. I'd just like to say a thank you to Alberta Wildfire, our Director of Emergency Management and Regional Fire Chief, Jody Butts, our incredible Regional Emergency Services team, Alberta Emergency Management Agency, my council colleagues, of course, for their support and their leadership, Buffalo RCMP, Bylaw Service, and all law enforcement that was involved, the tireless team of the Regional Emergency Coordination Center, including our communications team, who did a great job keeping our residents informed during this event. I thank our CEO Hunter and all municipal staff that played a role, as well as all those maintained public services while their colleagues responded to the emergency. I'd like to thank all the Indigenous leaders and communities, industry partners, organizations, local business, and community members. So thank you to all of you. And also, I want to give a huge thanks to appreciation for our Premier Danielle Smith, Minister Todd Lowen, Minister Rick McIver, our MLAs, Minister Brian Jean, and MLA Tanny Yao, and for all those from province that really stepped up behind us every step of the way this time. They really showed their support for our region, and they answered the phone even late at night when I had to make phone calls. So I want to thank them all for that as well. So thank you, everyone. Before we adopt the agenda, is there anyone wishes to serve a notice of motion? Councillor Boussier? Councillor Dover, notice of motion?
I wanted to speak something about the evacuation, if you permit me.
Right now, we're at the notice of motion right now.
Okay, notice of motion.
Councillor Boussier?
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I, Councillor Lance Boussier, serve notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for Council's consideration at the May 28, 2024 Council meeting. That the Community Identification Committee and Administration explore opportunities to name existing and future municipal facilities after retired or deceased elected officials.
Thank you, Councillor Boussier. And I also have a notice of motion. So do you want me to? Okay, so I, Sandy Bowman, serve notice of motion and requesting that my colleague dispense with the requirements to provide 7-day notice in accordance with section 114 quotations B of the procedure bylaw, so that the proposed motion may be debated this evening prior to the conclusion of this meeting. That administration prepare a bylaw amendment to Schedule K of the fees, rates, and charges bylaw 23/022 to waive fees associated with 10 quotations A signed development permit until December 31st, 2024 to allow residents and business owners the time to come in compliance with the new signage regulations under bylaw 24/002, being a land use bylaw amendment, consolidated signage regulations. If that's agreeable to everyone, can someone make the motion to dispense notice requirements under section 114 section procedure bylaw, adopt agenda? Councillor Grandison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council dispense of the notice requirements under section 114 of the procedure bylaw. The agenda be amended by adding the following. Item number 9.3, amendment to user fees, rates, and changes, bylaw number 23/022 by Mayor Sandy Bowman, and that council waive requirement to serve notice relative to the proposed additions, and that the agenda be adopted as amended.
Thank you, Councillor Grandison. That's seconded by Councillor Ball. I'll call for a vote.
My vote's not coming up on screen, so I'm in favor.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. And thank you, Councillor Cardinal. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Can I have someone to adopt the agenda as presented? As amended, sorry. Oh, can I have someone moving on to consent agenda? Does anyone wish for moving items from the consent agenda? Councillor Benjoko?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Can you enter the next one, Councillor Benjoko?
I move that the recommendations contained in items 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, and 6.7 be approved.
And thank you for the second. I'll call for a vote. Thanks, Councillor Cardinal.
In favor, it's not coming up on my screen.
Thanks, Councillor Ball. Who's not? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have a report on the Fort Chipewyan Recycling Feasibility Study. I'd like to invite Robert Ilson, Environmental Services, to introduce the report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Robert Ison. I am the Senior Manager overseeing solid waste and underground services. I'm currently covering for Antoine Remp, who couldn't be with us this evening. In December of 2023, Council directed administration to investigate the cost and scope required for conducting a feasibility study on recycling in Fort Chipewyan, including the potential for the establishment of a recycling depot. After careful consideration and analysis, administration recommends that we do not proceed with the feasibility study at this time. Instead, we should wait for the extended producer responsibility EPR framework to be established so we can avoid the risk of conducting redundant studies or creating systems that may need significant modifications to comply with new regulations. The EPR framework transfers the responsibility for recycled materials from municipalities to producers. It's designed to reduce waste and encourage recycling. Alberta's EPR systems for single-use and hazardous materials are anticipated to be fully operational in mid to late 2025. While the establishment of a recycling program in Fort Chipewyan is a program we will support, we believe that it is in our best interest to wait until the EPR systems are operational. This approach ensures that we are making informed and strategic decisions that align with provincial initiatives and maximize the benefits to our community. Thank you for your attention, and I'm open to any questions.
Thank you, Robert. Do we have any questions? Councillor Dogar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me a chance. Thank you, sir. Nice presentation. I just want to ask you, once the recycling is there, there would be some separation of certain material which can be recycled. So how would you ship that to, or would you recycle it there in Fort Chipewyan, or that would be shipped to Fort McMurray?
I can't answer to what will happen in the future. Currently, the Solid Waste Department in Fort McMurray assists with Fort Chipewyan in bringing materials down to Fort McMurray to be packaged, to be shipped elsewhere. The EPR program may see a different strategy.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Dogar. Do we have any questions from council? I'm not seeing any. Do we have any other delegates? Oh, sorry, Councilor Banjoko.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I don't know if I missed this, but do we have any projection of when the EPR system can be in place?
The EPR system, through the chair to Councillor Banjoko, the EPR program is estimated to be up and running by mid to late 2025.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Banjoko. Councilor Cardinal.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. So, what new regulate? Who administers the EPR?
The EPR will be administered through the Alberta Recycling Manufacturers Association using professional, the PRO organization to oversee the program.
So we need to go through that to collect cans?
Through the chair to the question, recycling cans is a different part of recycling. The deposit received on cans, batteries, tires, that is already accounted for through Alberta Recycling Manufacturer Association and will not be part of the EPR program. The Extended Producer Responsibility Program is aimed at materials that ordinary items that are packaged in blister packs, and it's that material that we'll be recovering.
So it's totally different than the cans and bottles that we're going to be recycling, or is it part of it?
Through the chair to the question, that's correct. Bottles and can recycling, there is already a framework in the system. And again, the EPR is designed to recycle materials for everyday packaging.
How much do you know? How much do you know about the recycling processes that are currently available in Fort Chipewyan?
Through the chair to the question, I'm familiar with some of the processes that you have in Fort Chipewyan. We assist with returning metal streams back down to Fort McMurray.
Besides the metal streams, how many, like the batteries and fridges and all that stuff, is that done on, I believe it's done on a yearly basis when the winter road opens, am I correct?
Through the chair to the question, that's correct. We assist with transporting materials that can be recycled back to the Fort McMurray depot, where refrigerators, batteries, oils, tires are all separated for further treatment.
Do we have to go through the EPR extended proceed? No, what was it? Responsibility. Anyways, do we have to go through that in order to get a recycling for bottles and cans?
Through the chair to the question, recycling bottles and cans are a separate stream where a deposit is paid upon purchase of items, and it's accounted for when those bottles are returned to a bottle depot. That isn't part of the Extended Producer Responsibility Program. Bottles and cans are not part of what the Fort McMurray solid waste team handles. That's through private enterprise.
According to my knowledge, I think that, like, for the way that things are being recycled here, besides bottles and cans and plastics, plastic mail carts or whatever you want to call them, I think everything else is going fairly well. I'm not sure why we need to go through the same process to get a feasibility study for. Or would we even go that route for recycling facilities?
Through the chair to the question, the idea of tying a feasibility study to the EPR mandate would be so that we don't double up on efforts. EPR, for example, will look at different streams that we currently do not collect, glass being a good example.
So you're recommending that we wait to do the whole feasibility study together until 2025?
Through the chair to the question, that's correct. We're recommending that the feasibility study be hand in hand with the information that comes through the EPR process.
Is there any way around just getting any recycling facility? I'm thinking it might have to be privatized, to be honest. You know what? Thank you for your presentation. I'll follow up to administration on a couple of questions, but to your knowledge, the recycling in Fort McMurray, is it funded by us or is it a privately owned building?
Through the chair to the question, funding is based on taxation.
From our region?
Through the chair to the question, that's correct.
Oh, perfect. Oh, thank you for the presentation, man. Great answers. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Dogar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, one question. How they are, what measures they are doing now? What is the procedure now for the landfill and about the waste?
Through the chair to the question, I apologize. I have difficulty hearing. Could you repeat the question, please?
Oh, you didn't get the question? I can repeat it. My question is that what is the procedure now? There must be some landfill in a small size that you want to expand it.
Through the chair to the question, we currently have the material recycling facility where items that are collected that can be recycled are packaged and shipped for further recycling depots in Edmonton.
In Edmonton. So you think those are shipped by air or from Fort McMurray onwards?
Through the chair to the question, it's all surface transportation.
Sorry, say again?
Through the chair to the question, the recycling is sent by surface transportation.
My question is, probably I couldn't convey it to you, that you said it is done in Edmonton. How the landfill is, that thing is shipped to Edmonton? Is it goes by air or by road?
Through the chair to the question, the materials shipped out of the landfill go by road, sir.
During winter. Thank you.
Councillor Grandison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair, just clarity to Councillor Kendrick's question. There's two recycling conversations going on. The one recycling, cans, bottles, etc. I believe that's done through private industry. It's private companies that collect them and transport them. The other material is through taxation. I think those two questions got confused when he was asking. So I see him with his thumb up, so he's so I'm kind of answering for him through you. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Grandison. Councillor Cardinal, do you have another question? Hand's still up there. Okay, thanks, Councillor Cardinal. Do you have any other questions from council? I'm not seeing it. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Do we have any delegates for this item?
We have no delegates. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have someone make the motion? Councillor Stroud.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I move that Fort Chipewyan Recycling Program feasibility study report be accepted as information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the second, Councillor Ball. Do any councillors have any other debate, discussion, or comments?
Vote in progress. Yeah.
Not seeing any. I'll call for a vote.
Oh, look at.
Thanks, Councillor Cardinal. In favor. Did you press that?
Ken, what date did he say? September?
That's carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Next, we have a report on downtown revitalization incentives program and proposed phase 3 program. I'd like to invite Amanda Heides, Suchnook, Plan Development Services, to introduce the report, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. And for the record, my name is Amanda Heides, Director of Planning and Development Services Division. And with me tonight is Such Chandyuk, Manager of Community Development Planning. And in our audience is Susan Frampton, our lead planner. Thank you for the opportunity to make this presentation. This evening, we will provide an update on the Downtown Revitalization Incentive Program, also known as DRIP. This will include findings from the program evaluation and administration's recommendation for proposed phase 3 of the program. Because this presentation is in 2 parts, it is a little bit longer than typical. We've got our evaluation that we're summarizing and also the proposed phase 3 of the program and the details associated with that. The DRIP program was originally launched in 2020 in response to economic challenges being faced by businesses in our downtown, which were exacerbated by COVID-19 and the 2020 flood. The program aligned with the 2018-2021 Council Strategic Plan to provide incentives to businesses downtown, and also aligns to Council's new strategic plan. Since 2020, the program has been offered in different phases and is now closed to applications. In the fall of 2023, we undertook a program evaluation. Because there has been significant interest and high uptake in the program, a proposed 3 program is before you this evening. The evaluation was measured against 4 original objectives: retain existing businesses while encouraging new businesses in the downtown, introduce new features and amenities that create interest, improve accessibility, enhance safety, and increase vibrancy, helping transform the downtown into a place where people want to spend time, enhance the aesthetic qualities of private buildings and property to improve the character and quality of the downtown, and leverage public funding to catalyze private investment in our downtown. Overall, the program is expected to infuse $27 million in total construction investment into our downtown. $9 million of this is from the grant monies committed by the municipality. This means that for every dollar provided by the municipality, an additional $2 is being invested by the private sector into our downtown. This results in a 1 to 3 return on investment. In total, 275 applications have been approved. Of these, 56% are fully complete and applicants have been reimbursed. There are still over 100 projects under construction, which means we will see more results over the next year as a result of this program. The next few slides briefly highlight some of the completed projects, and a full list is in your agenda. Here is a couple of examples of buildings that benefited from the program's exterior facade grant, giving a more cleaner, fresher appearance to our downtown streets. Here are a couple of examples of mural projects made possible through the DRIP program. Murals help add visual interest, creativity, and color. Lastly, these are 2 examples of interior improvement grants which help bring a new business into the downtown and also supported an existing business to purchase their own building, relocate, and expand their operations within the downtown. Interior projects are the most difficult to spot visually. However, they are among the top 2 most popular grants. They support existing businesses to stay or relocate in our downtown or encourage new businesses to open. Here are a few examples of businesses that have benefited from the grant. Some of them you're familiar with likely are the Agency, the Alley YMM, City Furniture, Dollar Tree, Acura Healing, Cozy Corner Restaurant, La Mesita, Play on Space, Red Arrow, Sweet Layers, and some other solutions. And again, these are just some of the few examples. Last year, the program was recognized by Alberta Professional Planners Institution with the 2023 Award of Merit in the implementation category, highlighting the RMWB's ability to actually deliver the program and see real results. While some municipalities offer grant programs, many of them do not see a strong uptake as we have in our community. To better understand the effectiveness of the program, staff undertook an evaluation, including obtaining input from internal and external stakeholders and developing a revised program to better meet current business needs. Multiple inputs were used to evaluate, such as general trends, smartphone data, and program records. A robust engagement process was also undertaken and included working closely with committees of council, including Wood Buffalo Development Advisory Committee, Committee on Aging, Downtown Advisory, Business Advisory, amongst others. This was key to the evaluation process and development of a revised program. A variety of engagement methods were used, such as focus groups, presentations to advisory committees, pop-up events, online surveys, and one-on-one interviews. Overall, based on the engagement metrics, people were made aware of the project over 57,000 times, and people engaged or took action, such as completing a survey or attending an event, over 540 times. The next couple of slides will summarize key findings from the evaluation. Areas that we saw success in include most recipients report being satisfied or very satisfied with the program. Most report that the level of their effort was reasonable for the funding that they received. About 70% of recipients report being more confident in operating a business downtown because of the program. About 60% of recipients report undertaking larger or more extensive projects because of the funding made available. The program helped attract new businesses to the downtown, and it is estimated that more than 90% of reimbursed projects used at least one local contractor, and almost 60% of reimbursed projects used all local contractors. This indicates that the program has been successful in supporting our local economy and keeping investment in our region. Overall, feedback from recipients on the program's administration has been positive. However, there are also areas of improvement that we've captured, and these include survey responses indicate there could be more improvements to new amenities, accessibility, safety, and vibrancy in our downtown. Many respondents either noted no or slight success in those areas. The interviewed recipients advise that the program is unlikely to be a key driver of selecting the downtown as a place of business. Other factors are more significant, such as the cost of rent. The evaluation also identified areas of improvement, such as obtaining estimates for work, receiving and responding to comments from staff, receiving funding after projects are complete, and needing new resources and information to help with project planning in advance. The next series of slides will introduce the proposed Phase 3 program that is before you this evening. This includes program objectives, grant types, proposed duration and budget, and changes to the administration of the program. The newly proposed program objectives include 1. Enhance the aesthetic qualities of buildings and properties. 2. Encourage the reuse of vacant buildings. 3. Increase the safety and security of private buildings and commercial storefronts. And 4. Improve the accessibility of buildings and commercial storefronts. To meet these objectives, the following 4 grants are proposed moving forward: Facade Improvement Grant, Interior Improvement Grant, Mural Grant, and Premises Improvement Grant. All these grants already exist, but modifications are recommended to improve their effectiveness. And it is worth noting that the Patio and Beautification Project grants are discontinued as they represented less than 2% of utilized grants. However, some of the elements that come from these grants can still be found in our proposed listing here. The Facade Improvement Grant is among the most popular and well-subscribed grants, and feedback has been generally positive. Some projects, such as the one pictured here, can have a high visual impact in our downtown. Stakeholders would like this grant to return because of the potential to improve public perception and the look and feel of our downtown. This grant has been reintroduced with the following objectives: to enhance the aesthetic qualities of downtown buildings, create attractive and inviting business storefronts, and promote accessibility and safety improvements. Changes to the Facade Improvement Grant include: a new storefront option will be geared to tenants. This option is meant for small-scale improvements to enhance storefronts, such as signs and planters, and it's more of an affordable option for people who are renting. For comprehensive projects, which may be eligible for the largest grant, we recommend all projects involve a design professional. To streamline the program, aspects of the beautification and patio grant will be incorporated into the facade grant. Lastly, in alignment with the new program objectives, additional funding will be available for accessibility and safety improvements. The slide in front of you summarizes the proposed funding structure for the facade improvement grant. This grant is provided as a 50% matching reimbursement grant, meaning for every $1 invested by the business, the municipality matches it with the grant. For storefront projects, the grant value is $5,000 per street-level business. This grant is geared to tenants for smaller and more affordable improvements. For simple projects, the grant value is $15,000 per building. This grant is geared to property owners and improves a portion of their building. For comprehensive projects, the grant value is $65,000 per building and is also geared to property owners for improvements to the entirety of the building and must involve a professional designer. Additional top-ups or add-ons are available for those projects that wish to address accessibility and/or safety. Between $2,500 and $5,000 will be made available for each category. Some examples include security systems, lighting, impact-resistant glass, professional removal of graffiti, locks, signage, ramps, handrails, widening entrance doors, creating seating spaces, easy-to-read building and directional signage, motor sensor lighting, door openers, and more. The Interior Improvement Grant is the most popular and well-subscribed grants out of all grants available, but feedback has been mixed. While applicants strongly appreciate this grant, others are more critical because the improvements cannot necessarily be seen by the public. For example, improvements to building systems like ventilation or electrical were considered eligible costs in the previous grant program. We recommend reintroducing the Interior Grant with the following objectives: to support the reuse of vacant units and encourage existing businesses to make general changes to provide a refresh or more accessible or safe space. Changes to the grant include providing the grant per business unit versus per building, allowing more businesses to apply. So for example, in a plaza that has 5 business units, then all 5 could apply. Prioritize vacant units and vacant storefronts by providing extra grant money for empty spaces. This is new. Before, we didn't differentiate between occupied and vacant space. Moving forward, we really want to encourage vacant space to take advantage of the program. Encourage more storefronts to take advantage of this grant versus interior-facing units. Similar to the facade improvement grants, additional funding will be made available for interior accessibility and safety improvements, such as motion sensor lighting, booths for security staff, security systems, shatterproof window film, creating wider corridors, elevator or chair lifts, color contrasting warning strips, barrier-free washrooms, low-level vanity units, voice-activated systems, and more. This slide summarizes the proposed funding structure for the Interior Improvement Grant. This grant is provided also as a 50% reimbursement grant. Vacant storefront units can receive up to $40,000 per unit if the unit has direct access to the outside, has been vacant for more than 6 months, and must be occupied at the time of reimbursement. This is the highest value interior grant in an effort to encourage new businesses to either locate or relocate to empty storefronts in our downtown. Vacant non-storefront units can receive up to $20,000 per unit. Occupied businesses can receive up to $20,000 per unit. Improvements will focus on visible changes, including painting and flooring. Building systems, such as HVAC units, will no longer be eligible for reimbursement. Common areas, such as interior corridors or hallways, can receive up to $20,000 per building and are for visible changes, including painting and flooring, essentially a refresh. The last row of the table shows the proposed add-ons for accessibility and safety. These may be provided on top of the amounts listed above. The murals grant, unfortunately, was not as popular as the other grants. However, given the high impact that murals can have, we recommend it remains available with some minor changes. For the few murals that we do see in the downtown, such as the Salvation Army and the casino, they've had a pretty big impact on our downtown. We want to keep this grant in our suite of eligible grants and also do a better job at promoting it and working with businesses to get them interested in taking advantage of it. These include allowing murals on apartment buildings as well. In the previous offering, it was only on commercial buildings. Moving forward, we're proposing that apartment buildings can also have murals on their buildings part of this program. And also allowing a small amount of advertising to be incorporated into the murals, hopefully encouraging businesses to take advantage of the program. This slide summarizes the proposed funding structure for the mural grant. This grant is provided as a 75% reimbursement grant. This means that the municipality contributes 75% of the cost, up to $30,000 per building. The premises improvement grant represented 16% of all grant approvals. Some respondents really liked parking lot repaving and similar projects. It makes a difference to their properties, while others were more critical that such projects aren't very impactful and should be considered maintenance costs of the property owner. We recommend reintroducing the premises grant with the following objectives: enhance the aesthetic quality of properties through improved landscaping and placemaking initiatives, make properties more accessible, safe, and pedestrian friendly. We recommend a couple of minor changes to the premises improvement grant. This grant will now focus on landscaping improvements, which can improve the aesthetic quality of properties and provide amenity. Costs to repave parking lots will no longer be covered because it is difficult to notice or appreciate over time, and paving, particularly concrete, is extremely costly to stakeholders and to our taxpayers. This slide summarizes the funding structure for the premises improvement grant. No changes are proposed in funding. This grant is provided as a 50% matching grant. This grant is provided on a sliding scale. The maximums are based on areas of the premises, which is the parking and landscape areas surrounding the building itself. Moving forward, it is recommended that the proposed Phase 3 program be offered to applicants for 2 years, so over the period of 2024 and 2026. This will provide more certainty to businesses, allowing them to pre-plan and budget accordingly to take advantage of the program. Approximately $2.4 million already remains available from the previous DRIP phase and is being held in the Emerging Issues Reserve. Administration recommends carrying these funds forward to support Phase 3 of the DRIP program, and we're confident that this should be sufficient to fund the program moving forward. A few additional changes are also proposed to general requirements. We're recommending allowing 18 months for construction versus 12 months, giving businesses more flexibility, especially given our seasonal changes. We also recommend some housekeeping policies to provide more clarity around deadlines for signed agreements and submitting outstanding estimates. And as previously mentioned, we recommend allowing new costs related to safety and accessibility improvements. Moving forward, administration will increase public awareness of the program to hopefully see increased participation, create additional resources to provide more information about permitting, accessible project ideas, crime prevention information, etc., adopt a 2-step approval process, which will allow applicants, businesses, to submit a partial application and receive advice on their proposals quicker and upfront. This includes on permits and municipal requirements. And also, we commit to issue conditional approvals and give applicants 90 days to submit the estimates for their cost, avoiding wasted time on revised estimates. We hope these new processes will help address several issues, including screening applications early to ensure they meet basic requirements before estimates are submitted, providing applicants with early advice on permits and other municipal requirements, and estimates will be more accurate and in alignment with market conditions. Thank you for your consideration of the Phase 3 DRIP program. Before we conclude, I would like to say thank you to all of our stakeholders, including our committees, for them driving the creation and improvement of this grant program. I'd also like to say thank you to RMWB staff who make this program possible. It takes a lot of departments to push this program through and to help the businesses who are applying and getting reimbursed. And most importantly, the downtown businesses who put their own time, effort, energy, and money into our downtown, offering products and services to our community. Without their optimism and confidence in investing in our downtown, this program would have zero results. Thank you, and this concludes our presentation.
Thanks, Amanda. And I want to also thank you and your team for all the work they've done. Heard nothing but good things from the community and the downtown about this, and a lot of familiar faces in the pictures you provided, or people that came up to me telling me what a great job it's been, how great you and the Plan Development Department have been working with everyone on this. And it's great to see the new features, adding security and that sort of thing in the program. So thank you. Questions from Council? Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, through the chair. So I believe there should be a stash of cash in the for murals and art. We made a motion maybe 5 years ago for the 0.5 of the capital budget. Would that be an avenue where people could actually, extract that cash from? Because we made that with good intentions. It would go to any club that wanted to do art around the community. And one of the projects that I was just thinking about the other night was the mural that we were going to paint along Responders Way. We put a chunk of money away that would incipit the first responders community, the Indigenous leaders, and that was going to be put on the abutment on Responders Way. And there's a lot of stuff here that goes, I guess, untold or undone. But if somebody could, if you could put that back as part of your plan, there was going to be a beautiful mural done on Responders Way. And I know that if you could, extract some money from murals from the original intention of art around our community, I don't know what the kitty would be at now, but I think we're after going through 6 budget cycles, putting away 0.05. So I don't know what that's at now, but I know there should be a chunk of cash because we were delivering capital budgets back then at the tune of $550 a year, and I don't know if we ever extracted. I think there was one withdrawal for a mural since. But I mean, art is beautiful, and it covers up the old and gives us something new. Appreciate the program.
Thank you, Councillor McGrath. Councillor Ball.
Thank you, through the chair. Thanks for the presentation, Director Heides. You were recently in a meeting with the ACOA, and there was a bit of a hot topic about potentially adding a grant stream to this program for basically something that's age-friendly. We're, recently designated an age-friendly community. And I know accessibility is certainly on your list, but there's other things that could potentially be age-friendly. And I don't have a whole list of them, but something as simple as font size and font type for their signage for these businesses can help people that are, almost my age, I guess. So is there any thought to adding that grant stream that's specific to age-friendly?
Through the chair to Councillor Ball, I was at that meeting, and it was interesting to hear someone had made a comment that if any design element is good for a young child, it's also good for an older person as well. So sort of the age-friendly piece is good design in general, and it's something that we would love to see through the program. The term accessibility is pretty broad, and so is security and safety, really. The intention of providing the safety and the accessibility top-up is to see improvements that benefit the entire community, including elements that are good for our aging population, And through this program and creating those top-ups, we're hopeful to see through construction that's happening in the downtown that there's at least more mindfulness put towards accessibility and those who require, more attention in terms of physical demand or even aging demand. Through the top-ups, we're hoping that we will see a difference and more of an improvement than what we've seen in the previous phases. As we go through the program, if we see that there's more areas for improvement, then we'll certainly report back to council.
Okay, thanks. I'd just like to see somewhere that we could dunk the words age-friendly into one of the grant streams where people could utilize that, so.
Through the chair to the question, we have guidelines for all of our grants, so we can certainly look at modifying the language to provide more context and probably even create more ideas.
Okay, that could work. Thank you.
Through the chair to Constable Ball, if it's specifically about signage, we are including easy-to-read building and directional signage in the type of grants that we are going to be covering for.
Well, no, it's just anything age-friendly. No, signage is certainly one of the items, but there's a whole list of items. You were at that meeting as well, and the advisory committee's well up to speed on what those are. So if you worked with them, I think they could give you a list of items of what could help our community. So,
absolutely, thank you.
All right, awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. Councillor Cardinal.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Amanda, for the great presentation. Appreciate your hard work, like Mayor Bowman had said. How many eligible applicants are there? Do we have a number on that? I don't think I've seen that number in the report.
Through the chair to the question, we have two, if I'm understanding the question right, sorry, for clarity, can you please clarify your question? Is it, the way I'm understanding it is how many businesses downtown could be eligible?
Yeah, for each grant, I just kind of want to know a percentage of how much funds we've distributed.
Through the chair to the question, so we have pre-approved just over $9 million. We've allocated just over $9 million in grant funding. But to date, we're just over $5 million in actual reimbursement, which means that we still have reimbursements to process. And that's because we have just over 100 projects still under construction. And once they're complete, they'll come back for the reimbursement. So right now we're holding about $4 million in projects that haven't been reimbursed yet.
Out of the capacity of applicants, how many do you know a percentage at all?
We've reimbursed, I believe it works out to 56%.
Oh, okay. So there's still quite a bit that haven't applied. Yeah. Okay. One more question, I guess. I missed in your presentation there about the amount that the security grant was. Sorry about that. The additional security grant.
Through the chair to the question, so depending on the type of grant that the business is applying for, we basically have a range. So it's between $2,500 and $5,000 top up, for example, for security improvements on interior or exterior grant, and also an additional $2,500 to $5,000 for accessibility. So if someone was to undertake a project, they possibly could get upwards of $5,000 for security and an additional $5,000 for accessibility improvements.
And that deadline is 2 years from today now?
If the program is approved, once the applicant submits their grant application and it gets approved, they would have up to 18 months to complete their project. We're looking to have the application window open for 2 years. So essentially, if someone was to apply on the very last day of the program in 2026, they would have 18 months from there to actually complete the project. So you're looking at almost 4 years of the program continuing on if it was to be approved this evening.
Perfect. Thanks. Just was a friendly reminder about how great of opportunities you provide as a municipality. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cardinal. Councillor Dogar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the nice presentation. Every aspect has been covered and a good program. I wish you all the success. One question I want to ask you, that 30,000 for which 75% municipality will contribute. Am I right?
Through the chair to the question, that's correct. So the municipal.
Okay, that amount will be paid before the work or after the work?
Through the chair to the question, all of the work that we reimburse has to be completed before we issue any monies back. So the construction or the painting, whatever was committed to in the application, has to be considered complete before any money is reimbursed.
Okay, fine. About the signage, as the senior manager was talking about, I had complaint from the people that those signs which were already there, the old, which were put in down, they are being removed.
Councillor Dogar, that's a different thing. We're not discussing that right now.
Oh, he gave some point of view. Okay, fine.
No, this is the downtown revitalization
okay, thank you.
Grants. Thanks, Councillor Weigel. Do you have another question, Councillor Dogar? Thank you. Councillor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. A couple of questions. So one of the grants I noticed had an opportunity for some, improvements, some greenery, that kind of thing. I would hope that we are looking very carefully at any business that, by virtue of the actual bylaw, should have greenery, and we're not funding them to do what they are obligated to do based on their permits, because this is an issue that Councillor Ball has been speaking of in our downtown core, that many of our businesses have paved over the greenery. and I just want to be very careful that nobody's going to get municipal funding to do what they're obligated to do.
Through the chair to Councillor Grandison, a lot of businesses in downtown were approved prior to municipality becoming the municipality, and so the rules of the time would have been applicable. The current rules for commercial businesses require 10% of the lot to be green, but we can only use that for newer businesses, newer premises. For anything that has existed back in time, if it's contemplated within the development permit, they'll have to provide 10% of landscaping as part of the development permit. But if it has not been contemplated, and a lot of sites in downtown do not really have that condition, we are going ahead with the grant to be able to sort of promote more greener areas in downtown.
I can absolutely appreciate that such, but I do disagree with you, because I believe Walmart, Canadian Tire, Sobeys, etc. were all approved, and there should be 10% greener there, and there isn't. So I would certainly hope that they couldn't apply for municipal funding to put in material that should have already been there, because those permits were approved after these bylaws were in place. So I just bring that up as a point of, and I guess my second area is, given the reality of challenges that we're facing with crime and security in our downtown core, could we not put a higher weighting of grant approval on things that provide greater security, greater visibility, all of the things like the RCMP come and do a presentation to us as council of all the things we can do in our downtown core to make it more safe for our citizens, etc. And if we're going to be spending money, perhaps we should be putting a greater weight on security than fixing up somebody's lobby in a business, for example. And could we not just put greater weight on security types of things within this program? Does that am I making sense? Okay, good.
Through the chair to the question, we've tried to actually do that through the changes that we're making in the program. By us pulling out security as a separate top-up or add-on, it's giving the businesses the ability to draw on more funds that weren't available before. And the other thing is, as part of the base grant, there's a lot of elements of design and construction that consider safety and security on its own. And on top of that, we're also saying there's further monies available if there's more security enhancements or improvements that you want to make to a site. So we are trying to encourage businesses to at least take the money and be able to incorporate those added security features as part of the projects.
I get that, and I saw that in the wording, but like for me, if we've got 5 people making an application, and of the 5 people, 3 of them have higher levels of security built into their requests, and there's X amount of dollars, then my priority would be on the 3 that have higher levels of security, because that brings a greater sense of comfort and security to our citizens in the downtown core. That's all I'm saying. Is I don't know whether you can weigh it higher, but in my opinion, it perhaps should be. So that's my only point. Thanks for the presentation. And I do appreciate the fact that you put it in there, but it can also get lost in there. So thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Grandison. Councilor Benjoko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Amanda, and for the presentation. 2 questions. I don't think I can get the answer tonight, but is there anything that can be done to help new or young entrepreneurs? Is it possible to target those kind of population? It might not be a question for now, and I'm glad I'm looking at one of the members of the committee, so hopefully we can think about that. My second question is, I know that federal government, I think, provides grant that they give upfront without holding back some percentage. Did you ever get any feedback that waiting to get the contribution could be a hindrance to the project completion? Those are my 2 questions.
Through the chair, to the question, we have considered doing upfront funding, but there is a risk there to the taxpayers because essentially what could happen is we're giving businesses money upfront with no real guarantee that the project's actually going to be completed or started, or worse, it could be started and half completed, and we're not really seeing value for the taxpayers' dollars that are being invested. We have gotten legal opinion on that as well, and we've been advised that we should be using it as a reimbursement grant only to spend the money responsibly.
Okay. Thank you. And the other party just took that as information, right?
Through the chair to the question, through Startup YMM with the Economic Development Group, the Fort McMurray Wood Buffalo Economic Development Group, I know that Startup YMM has programs available that could align. Such may have more to add to that, though.
Through the chair to Councillor Benjoko,
Yes.
The program does not directly sort of invite entrepreneurs to the area, but it creates an opportunity for people to relocate. So, for example, one of the grants that we are introducing is for vacant units, and that provides highest level of grant value. So if there's a unit that's been sitting vacant for about 6 months, someone, the property owner, can use the grant value, model the unit, and perhaps have a better possibility of getting a new tenant, a new entrepreneur, a new business in the area, in the building, rather than the unit sitting vacant just like that without any improvements. So the program does sort of create opportunities to be able to invite more businesses, more entrepreneurs to the area. It cannot really get more people in. It creates opportunities for people to be there.
Thank you for that. Through the chair again, one point is missing about the young entrepreneurs. And like I said, I don't expect the answer today. I just think it might be important to look into that. Because I see some businesses on that list. Honestly, they are really well established. And there are some young people in this region. It's so difficult to start up business when the rent is $10,000. When I got to Fort McMurray and I heard it, I didn't believe it. So it's tough. And again, I agree if you take it as information.
Absolutely. We'll take it back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Majoko. Are there any other questions from council? I'm not seeing any, so thank you, Amanda. Thank you, such. We'll go to delegates. First, Mr. Renee Wells. And just a reminder, Renee, just to say your name for the record. You have 5 minutes to present, and just please remain seated for questions after. And I have to say, you look really good today.
Thank you. My name is Renee Wells. I'm a resident of Timberlea. It's been said that nothing is so permanent as a temporary government program. Grants are intended to meet a specific need, providing residents with a hand up, or recipients, pardon me. They address many things: disaster recovery, innovative research and studies, supporting programs, or unique initiatives. Administration tonight has not made the business case that DRIP meets an actual need to achieve business revitalization downtown. Extending this program, in my view, facilitates a sense of dependency among some in a sector historically relying on its own capital. It does not set the foundation for a vibrant business sector that we need downtown. It has the appearance of a business subsidy. So I urge you to consider whether its continuation is in the public interest. Now, good grant programs, as we heard from the director earlier, have served an actual need. She talked about flooding and the pandemic. I'd add to recovery from the 2016 wildfire. Businesses impacted by these disasters legitimately needed a hand up so they could get back to serving their customers and their clients. Those times have passed. 3 of the 4 program objectives that administrative highlighted at a workshop I attended, aesthetic appearances, reduced commercial vacancies, and improved accessibility, are the sole responsibility of the proprietors themselves, not government. Subsidies to replace HVAC systems, apartment windows, and driveways help offset one's maintenance costs, but hardly contribute to a vibrant downtown. Government should not fund businesses to plant flowers on their properties. The other objective, safety and security, is a shared responsibility achieved by enhancing the services already provided by our police and bylaw officers. Individual businesses can improve their security measures without a subsidy. I've purchased locks and cameras for my home on my own. Why can't they? And many already do without government funding. To me, it all comes down to pride. The free market is good at finding solutions with its own money when the conditions are right for them to thrive. Pride and ownership can be achieved not through subsidies to some businesses, but through the efforts of individuals and what they themselves put into their properties. The focus on government should be instead on supporting economic development by persuading entrepreneurs that the conditions for investment exist across our region. Flood mitigation work now underway assures them that we are providing a safe, secure environment to invest in. Lobbying the province for transportation infrastructure improvements is another vital issue that will drive business development, including downtown. One area I would draw to your attention is the graffiti spreading across our downtown like dandelions. Now, one DRIP recipient, an apartment owner who replaced crumbling walkways to their building. Now, let's pause to think about that one. A subsidy to replace something that anyone who truly cared about the well-being and safety of their tenants would have fixed on their own long ago. That said, they never purchased paint to cover up the graffiti on either side of their building. This runs counter to the narrative of improved aesthetic appearances. I know of no other area in our city so vandalized by graffiti. The destruction by a few does more to turn people off than anything else, yet it continues. First impressions count. The graffiti that we don't remove today is a sad visual tomorrow that pride in our community is diminished. Revitalization downtown across our city and region will only come through a greater focus on economic development while encouraging everyone to take pride in what they own, rent, or lease through the efforts of their own hard work. And by supporting young entrepreneurs wanting to establish small businesses. I invite you to ask me more about that later. DRIP funding for businesses already established in one small part of our region does not achieve that purpose. I would urge Council to focus on the long game, not on what some may believe are quick and easy fixes. Handouts that exclusively benefit a few at the expense of everyone else is not getting that job done. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Very well said. Do you have any questions for the presenter? Councillor Grandison?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. Thanks, Renee. Well said. I certainly agree with many of the aspects of your comment. Do you have some ideas or some solutions that you think might be of value, given your wisdom?
Absolutely, I do, and I spoke about it earlier. You know, my view is that past council are addicted to spending, and the road that they've led our municipality down over the last 2 decades, they're filled with monuments on our ability to stimulate investment, especially downtown. You look at that weather catcher, later dismantled and disposed of. The movable white cedar stage, now partially buried near a playground along the Snai waterfront. Renovations of the area known as Jubilee Square outside this building, including the Blue Mountain Bistro, now an RCMP community office. Memory experience, including a large interactive computer that came to us at millions of dollars. Business appropriation, or business property expropriations leading to Camp Park. The unfinished cultural center on McDonald Island. And by my estimation, this represents expenditures more than $48 million. And what do we have to show for it? Add to that the $9.1 million that's been spoken of tonight and counting through the DRIP program. So it's left to you as politicians and leaders with the difficult task of growing our economy. DRIP funding doesn't do it. Look, its focus on businesses are already in place, and by all accounts, they appear to be doing well. That larger businesses and chain brands, including banks, hotels, apartments, that can qualify for DRIP funding, with some accessing the program, to me is inherently wrong. They have the capacity and the capital to make upgrades on their own without looking to our limited tax resources. We've got Child's Variety Shop that recently closed its doors, and I've heard of one other business that's going to do the same. So in answer to your question, to me, is how do we fill the void that they've left or are about to leave? Given that the goal of administration is to leverage public funding to catalyze private investment downtown, ending the DRIP program, and instead tasking administration with creating a program that supports new and young entrepreneurs, that supports looking to start up small businesses across the region, provided they meet program parameters. It should be limited in scope. You're in, you're up, and you're running, and then you're on your way out. You can't come back to draw water from the wall that we're seeing in DRIP. Council could utilize a committee as part of an approval process in a sort of Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. Now, I'm not talking about Kevin Leary or Lori Griner, to review submissions on what applicants propose to establish in our region, whether downtown, Timberlea, Thickwood, or as far away as Fort Chipewyan and Conklin. However, I think that it would align with the initiatives of some of the committees that we have in place, including the Wood Buffalo Development Advisory Committee. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think this would help fill commercial vacancies and boost consumer choice across our region, not enhance the appearances of some businesses in part of our municipality.
Thank you kindly, sir.
Thanks, Councillor Grandison. Councillor Brynjoko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Renee, for your thorough presentation. Having said all that, do you have any positive feedback or impact that you can share from the Downtown Revitalization Program?
Through the chair, thank you for that question, Councillor Banjoko. And so I would contend that there might be a bit of a disconnect between what the administration delivered and what downtown businesses, churches, and apartments have received and how the public sees it. Now, we're hearing that there's a lot of great feedback. But in one of the slide decks that I had taken some notes at a workshop and later at a meeting, what I heard was 32% thought it improved the look of our downtown, while 35% said no change. 21% said our downtown looks worse, and 12% offered no opinion or weren't sure. If you remove the last group, the people that don't offer an opinion or weren't sure from the analysis, it would seem to me that a clear majority of respondents offering their feedback, I tallied up at 64% either saw no improvement in the look of our downtown or felt it's gone down, versus the 36% who liked what they saw. So I think that's important to keep in mind. Some of the feedback that I've heard from people I've talked to is that this seems to be too wide-ranging, and that it should be more focused on small businesses. But in line with what I've heard from some is that, hey, why aren't we looking to encourage young entrepreneurs, the next group, the next generation is going to come in and make our community and our region what it is. And it certainly shouldn't just be downtown. There's a lot of great areas around our region, I think, that could use that hand up.
Thank you. At least we seem to agree on one point about young and upcoming people. I just have another question. Do you have an office downtown, location downtown? Do you have anything downtown, shop, office, warehouse? I know you are quite involved in this community. Do you have anything downtown?
Through the chair, I'm not picking up the question quite well here. Do I personally have an interest downtown? My answer to that would be no.
Anywhere downtown, do you have any office, warehouse, anything downtown so that you could have this direct feedback of the impact?
I don't have an office per se through the chair, but I do, like many people in this community, spend my time in various subdivisions, and that includes downtown. And I would also say two things. That first of all, this is not a slight against administration. Director of Planning could take great pride in the work that her people have done. I think Mr. Hunter, you can as well. That they've been most professional. I am a member of the Development Advisory Committee. I'm not here acting on their behalf. You're going to hear from someone later, but I have taken that role that you've granted me to be a member of that committee very seriously, and I've been asking questions around town, and I realize a lot of that is anecdotal, but overall, the feeling among small business people is that this is not serving our needs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Majoko. Do we have any questions from council? I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Renee.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Next, we have Rick D'Souza, committee member, Wood Buffalo Development Advisory Committee. And just a reminder, Rick, you have 5 minutes to speak. And if you just say your name before you start and just remain seated for questions, please. I'm sure Diane already told you the drill.
That she did. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Bowman, council members, and fellow attendees. Through the chair, for the record, my name is Rick D'Souza, and I'm a representative of the Wood Buffalo Development Advisory Committee. Tonight, I'm here to advocate for 8.1, update and proposed expansion of our Downtown Revitalization Incentive Program, Phase 3. As you know, revitalizing our downtown is critical for economic vitality, to which DRIP has already sparked significant development, breathing new life into our core area. These efforts have not only bolstered economic activities, but have also assisted in the development of small businesses, assisted in stabilizing property values, and enhancing our community spirit. The success of DRIP is measurable, as previously stated. With the municipality spending approximately $9.1 million, we've leveraged an estimated $27 million in private sector funding across over 270 projects. This investment has transformed neglected areas, remedied infrastructures and landscaping, and fostered vibrant downtown communities. Economically, the program has proven to be a catalyst in attracting new business, creating job opportunities, and increasing local spend. This influx has not only helped to stabilize, but often increase property values, benefiting homeowners and enticing further investment from business leaders. For Phase 3, we propose continuing these successful strategies with an option to expand them, introducing demolition grants, which may provide us with flexibility to redevelop areas and tackle undeveloped and derelict properties more effectively. Additionally, as discussed, In a number of previous council meetings, we recommend increased investment in policing, enhancing bylaw enforcement, and stricter maintenance standards across the board. These measurements are essential for ensuring that downtown Fort McMurray remains a safe and welcome place for residents and visitors alike. By continuing with the aspects of downtown revitalization projects, we will continue transforming our downtown into a dynamic hub for both business and leisure, which will further drive community and economic development. Thank you, Mayor Bowman and council members, for your consideration.
Thank you, Rick. Do we have any questions from council? Councilor Dogar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir. It's a good presentation. Always met you and found you a very decent man and contributed to my knowledge. My question is a very little one, and you said that property value will enhance. That would be of the region or of the downtown?
That would be, sorry, through the chair to the question, that would be, the statement would be targeted for downtown.
Okay. Thank you for the nice input.
Pleasure, thank you.
Do we have any other questions from council? I'm not seeing any, so thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Councilor Bajoko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. So do you think the current KPIs that has been set to measure the effectiveness of this program, do you think is adequate, or are there things you think we need to improve on?
Through the chair to the question, I'm going to speak from a personal point of view. I believe that the KPIs that have been set are adequate at this point in time. Speaking and asking questions to Amanda in previous conversations while discussing the DRIP program, we were focused on how much of the work was actually was producing local businesses and produced by local businesses, or was it a lot of outside contractors coming in? But she adequately explained that it actually really significantly helped local business contractors on a larger portion. And that is one KPI that I was really looking for. I hope I adequately answered your question.
Yes, through the chair again, I have one question that I think I forgot to ask Amanda. The question about having businesses, they are able to apply for the grant?
Is the question for Amanda or for Rick?
I think he triggered the question. Maybe.
But it's a question for administration?
Amanda, I think.
So do you want to wait till after the motion's made?
Oh, okay.
Then you can ask administration. Just can we jot that question down?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Councilor Bajoko. Do we have any other questions from council? None this time for sure, Rick. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next we have Mr. Mike Staroche. Buffalo Downtown Revitalization Advisory Committee. And just a reminder, Mike, if you say your name for the record, and just after you present, remain for questions after, please.
I pushed the button. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Through the chair to Council. My name is Michael DeRocher, and I am the Indigenous representative and the chair of the RMWB DRAC, the Downtown Revitalization Committee. I'm here reporting from our committee on our behalf, and the comments I make are based on the committee approving most of the things I'm about to say. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the committee and to give our support of 8.1, the DRIP program. Our committee has been briefed on this program and have agreed that it is a positive program for our downtown. We conclude that the changes to the program fit the goals our committee hopes to achieve, and achieve that the funds being requested would also be a positive to encourage businesses to use this program to create a positive change in the downtown atmosphere and appearance. Our committee would like to add that the DRIP program could use a boost Based on presentations and information given to us from RCMP's Chief Superintendent, Mark Hancock, it is our understanding that lighting in the downtown area would benefit with a lighting upgrade to our streetlights. This would not only help our revitalization efforts, but also greatly help change the safety level of our core. The reason I mention this is because you've heard there's changes now to lighting and security systems, which is a key area. This doesn't work unless the city steps up and does its part and takes care of some of the lighting that's there. The change we would like to see is the addition of more LED lighting and a change to the current light bulbs used. We would like to see the existing bulbs changed to a lighting spec that matches the LED lighting specs that have seen notable safety differences in several cities that have changed to these. The report from Chief Hancock showed our committee that improved lighting that allows cameras to show actual colors has dramatically shown the ability to clearly identify threats within the area of the lights. We see this as a bonus to the DRIP program as a benefit to our downtown. What I mean by that is if we can improve that lighting and we get businesses to buy in to improving their security systems and their lightings around their areas, that combination has a winning impact. It allows the police to find and identify clearly the people that are causing some of these issues. So upgrades in cameras and upgrading and lighting. Most of us that have these systems may not have the top line or one that's clearly well enough to identify these culprits and these threats. Research has shown that daylight specs for color temperatures in the 4,000 to 5,000 K range with regards to traditional bulbs for existing streetlights. We would like to recommend having the existing bulb specs changed to represent an equal standard of lighting to that of the new LEDs being used that have the daylight equivalency. Further, regarding the DRIP program, we'd love to see the additional funding for security camera upgrades and lighting assist to assist the police in their efforts. Okay. So in conclusion, our position is in favor of not only the DRIP program and the additional funding being requested, but to add even more funding to address the concerns for lighting upgrades, camera upgrades for businesses, and funding to allow the streetlights in the downtown area to be changed to these new standards. This is where your partnership helps the DRIP committee achieve not only their goal, but the goal for the downtown core as a whole. I do have a comment, and this comes from our committee. It was discussed. We'd love to see higher percentages for businesses in need. Changes typically see a 30% surge in businesses for 3 years. So when we upgrade the interiors, if we upgrade the outside, people respond positively to those changes, typically in our businesses. Our industry has shown that it roughly is about 30% for 3 years, which is what we need to get back into the game when this city and this municipality gets back to its glory days again, somewhat. So just like the mural program has up to 75% from a committee perspective on businesses that could show a need that are existing and we want to improve, that would be a great bonus to see a higher percentage being made available to those businesses in need. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Great presentations. Thanks for all you do. Just a question about the downtown lighting. Would that be something your advisory committee could bring forward to the municipality to look at that rather than the DRIP?
Oh, it'll be coming.
Perfect. That's perfect. Councillor Dogar?
Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me opportunity. Thank you, Mike. Very good, very decent input. And thank you in person for giving me help at times on different issues. My question is what about the park, which we have made it recently on our left side? What do you think? Is it is a beneficial for the revitalization, for improvement, or not?
Through the chair to Councillor Dogar, it can be both. I think one of the lighting areas that we're talking about, if you have bright enough lighting and it's like daylight there, it'll discourage a lot of the secondary use that people are using, and that I think the problem is if it's not well lit, it breeds a certain clientele that may use it during the nighttime. I think the lighting, once again, and it was addressed in Chief Superintendent Hancock's presentation and the presentation they made to our committee, for the Downtown Revitalization Committee, that is a huge piece. But it doesn't work, to me, the park doesn't work without the lighting. I don't see a lot of use in it right now, and part of that may be a safety concern. I don't know. I hope that answers some of your question.
Thank you very much. Certainly, your input is a decent one.
Thank you.
Surely think more on these lines.
Thank you, Councilor Dogar. Any other questions? I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Mike. And next we have Dina Dela Cruz, Fraser Court Apartments.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Dina Dela Cruz. I am director of a corporation that owns an apartment building in downtown Fort McMurray. I'm here tonight to express my gratitude for the program. My company has benefited from the DRIP program. We have participated and have been reimbursed and receive a total of $85,000 for the renovations that we've done for our apartment building. It's a 32-unit, built in the 1970s. I am not a resident of Fort Mac, but I am really happy that I invested in Fort Mac. We are real estate investors, group of real estate investors from different provinces, but we do have 2 residents of Fort Mac that are also investing on this property. I'm very happy when I learned about the phase 3 of the program because despite that, we have budgeted for the renovation for this building when we purchased this over a year ago. At that time, we were not aware of the program. That's why when we started researching for the economy in Fort Mac and have learned about this program, we're really very happy and it helped us tremendously to improve our building. And what I am looking forward to is on the phase 3 that I have heard from the presentation previously, that there had been some enhancement in terms of the scope of the program. And I'm hoping that additional scope would also be granted for apartment buildings. I understand that there are some limitations in terms of what can be added or what can be part of this program if the property is an apartment building. And maybe that's something that I could have a separate discussion with the planning and development team. But I'm just wanting to express that, reviving an old building such as our apartment building requires a lot of funding that we never thought that would be part of our initial plan. We really want to improve on the quality of life situation of our tenants. We have had 3 instances of break-ins and vandalism in our building, and that is something that we really would like to address in terms of the security and safety of our tenants. We have had quotes from local contractors in terms of putting in security cameras and enhanced security system on the building. But it was surprising in terms of the cost of implementing these tools. That's why I'm really looking forward that the phase 3 would be able to help us out on this. I may not qualify for it in terms of the definition, but I'm really open to having that conversation with the development team. So again, I'm just here to really express my gratitude for the municipality and for the DRIP program. And I'm looking forward to helping the municipality on your goal of revitalizing the downtown of Fort McMurray. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. Do you have any questions for the presenter? I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Dina. Next, we have Bernadine Otinho, Morrison Center.
Mr. Mayor, Bernadine's not in attendance. We weren't able to get in touch with her to verify.
Okay, thank you. And also, since the meeting was moved from last week to this week, if council has no objections, we can allow Robbie Picard to speak on the downtown revitalization. If there's no objections. Okay, Robbie. Again, you have 5 minutes to speak, and please say your name for the record and remain seated for questions, please.
Thank you. I'm Robbie Picard. First of all, I want to compliment you guys. I was in Toronto launching my new program, and you guys handled the fire very well, so I was very impressed. In my long time, 20 years in Fort McMurray, this is by far the best program I have ever seen. Is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect. And I agree with what Renee said 100% about Jubilee Square, rec centers, all this stuff that we overbuilt, expropriation. But in this particular case, I have seen bricks to mortar people improving downtown. Tons of cities have done this. It is amazing, and it's paying back. We need to treat businesses in this community a lot more like we treat the social profit sector. We're not like any other community. Our tax base is mostly industry. So we need to, if we want people to live here, we need to reinvest. I'd like to see this program pushed out to Gregoire, parts of Thickwood. I'm also candid. I see a lot of businesses on the other side of the city closing and people wanting to be more downtown. I did a video series promoting this program and all the businesses that have opened downtown. Downtown's a hot spot to do business. Landlords are starting to lower their rents. This program gives them incentives. So I really think you should embrace this and do more of it. This is not... I agree that we have made so many mistakes building stuff, paying for stuff, paying for programs that never turned into anything. This actually turned into something that we definitely need to see more of, and it's a major success. So I support it 150%.
Thanks, Robbie. Do we have any questions to the presenter? I'm not seeing any. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have someone make the motion? Councillor Dogar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the Downtown Revitalization Incentives Program Policy FIN 320 as outlined in Attachment 1 be approved. Number 2, that administration accept new applications commencing May 27, 2024 through to May 31st, 2026. Third, that administration to continue to draw from the 2,600,000 funding previously approved on June 13, 2023 from the emerging issues reserved to fund future downtown revitalization Incentives Program Policy FIN 320 applications.
Thank you, Councillor Dogar. And thank you for the second, Councillor Ball. Any other debate, discussion, or comment or question from Council? Councillor Benjoko, you were waiting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to clarify that businesses or different stores within a building would qualify for some funding. Is that correct, Amanda?
Through the chair to the question, depending on the grant, yes. So for example, if there's a plaza that has storefront businesses and they have multiple units, as long as those units have not applied for that same grant previously, they would be eligible to apply for exterior or interior improvement grants.
So this could be tenants?
through the chair to the question, that's correct. We tried to, through the grants, give a scale of smaller valued grants and larger valued grants so that tenants could also take advantage of the program or building owners could take advantage of the program. What we've seen is smaller businesses, they obviously can't afford to undertake large construction projects. So we're trying to provide them with a scale that works within their budget and what's realistic. So for interior and exterior, there are options for tenants, yes.
So what would be like would we build some control in place? Because if a tenant takes the phone and they move away 4 months after, what happens?
Through the chair to the question, so if a tenant was to apply and get approval, they have up to a year to complete the project, and it typically does take that long. If they were to, in that example, be reimbursed and then leave within 4 months, there's no way in which the municipality would go after that tenant for those monies. However, we've seen, like with businesses, they do move around, and that does still add a value to the downtown, because then you've got a unit that was upgraded and is now available to another business that may move into that space.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bajoko. Councilor Stroud?
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. The funding has already been approved, so nice to see the new face or front of buildings in downtown Fort McMurray. It is much more inviting for residents to visit. Thank you to Council and the Wood Buffalo Downtown Revitalization Committee and administration for moving this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Stroud. Councilor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. So I'm always at a conflict when it comes to this. I very much appreciate what I'm seeing in downtown, the effort that our administration has put in, the effort the community's put in. I totally appreciate it, and I do see some of the value. What I struggle with is that we have many businesses in our region, and if you live in downtown, you can get money. But if you live in Thickwood, you can't. And that I have a problem with, because we're putting all our eggs in one basket, which is part of our plan, and I appreciate that. But what if you have a business in Thickwood that's struggling? What if you have a business in Timberley or Gregoire that's struggling? You can apply to get a grant if you live in downtown and you have a business in downtown, but you can't if you do live anywhere else. And I do have a problem. We're responsible for all of the taxpayers in the region, not just the ones in downtown. And that I struggle with. I truly do. So, and you know, I think some of Renee Wells' comments have merit. You know, like at some point in time, and certainly Robbie Picard's comments about the fact that this is a program that he's actually seeing benefit from. They're all true. So, but I do struggle. I have to admit that I wouldn't want to be the guy that owns a business in the little Thickwood shopping mall up there, and I'm struggling, and my neighbor downtown can get money from the city to fix up their place, and I can't. So I don't know whether expanding the program or looking at it or recognizing that, like, I understand after the fire, I understand after the flood that we had, but this is years later. And are we throwing good money after bad at this point in time? I don't know, but I do struggle with understanding, and I don't feel like I have enough factual information to make a decision, to be quite frank with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Grandison. Councilor Dogar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me opportunity. Thank you very much, Renee Well and Ruby Pekar, for the decent input and coming here and helping us. My other point is for the, you know, it looks very, very good that once we say local contractors, you know, I have worked in this community, nice community, for 19 years, involved in construction also, in transportation also. No contractor is a local, only the headman is a local, then he hires cheap labor from maybe south and maybe east, and, you know, money goes out. You know, this is, I've seen number of times in person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Dogar. Do you have any other questions, comments, or debate points from council? Councilor Benjoko?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is it actually, I don't know who I'm asking now. Is it actually possible to look into something that will be for businesses, or it has to be downtown? I might not get the answer today, but it's on my mind as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Benjoko. Councilor Cardinal?
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to say thank you to all the presenters, and we had some real concrete presentations, and I just feel that some of the comments about working hard, handouts. Those were key words that really caught my attention because of the fact that it's been years. I'll reiterate the fact of Alan's comments there. I think I've said this before. I know that there's some structure that we have in place, and it's been, man, that's 7, 8 years now, and I admire the great work that our administration has done, but I believe that I'm going to I will not be supporting a motion because I feel that some of the points that were made tonight about us being a bank and handing out money all the time, and when are we actually going to stop handing it out and really analyze some of our abilities to be able to save money. And I see that we're going in the right direction. In some of the last communications with council, I just feel that I'm not going to be supporting the motion because of the fact that we're trying to save money and listen to some of the taxpayers that are out there. And I appreciate all the hard work that administration's done. I appreciate all the comments from council, and I appreciate all the presenters. But at this time, I'm not going to be supporting this motion because our funds are become critical, and we need to start saving money. So thanks for everybody's input.
Thanks, Councilor Cardinal. Councilor Weigel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I will be supporting the motion. I love the fact that Amanda brought forward the fact that is 3-to-1 to what's been given out. And so what it does is it creates great investor certainty in the downtown area. Much has been expropriated out of the downtown to do new projects, and no money has been invested back in until the DRP program to bring businesses back downtown. We've moved many out. And they've gone to other areas, and that money has been sent other ways. But this DRP program brought a new front, literally, to many different businesses. We've seen investor encouragement and certainty come back downtown. Many more people are looking to invest downtown since we've done the DRP program. It shows that the city's committed to the downtown, and more people are coming in to do it as well. So because of that, I'll be supporting it.
Thanks, Councilor Weigel. Councilor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted clarity on something Councilor Weigel just said. Have we done anything to move businesses out of town, from downtown? Or have businesses moved from downtown?
We expropriated them.
Well, the expropriation. Yes. Oh, thank you. I need clarity on that, which I think is idiotic too, but.
Thank you, Councilor Grandison. Councilor Benjoko?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the entire program is for the downtown of Fort McMurray alone. Nothing goes to the rural, nothing for Anzac, nothing for Chippewa and any other place.
No, it's the Downtown Revitalization Center program. Downtown, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That's a question for the future. I will be supporting this motion. I will be voting yes, but I have a lot of questions about the current downtown revitalization program. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bojoko. Councilor McGrath?
Thank you, through the chair. I was wondering on administration, a few weeks back we talked about, the sustainability of the program, whereas we've, duly pointed out, I think between, there's probably about a $60–70 million spend in moving businesses around downtown. But I was just wondering that through the chair, was there any thought given to just when you roll out this program to have like a retainer on each side that would be dedicated to that security that we talk about? Like at one point we had passed a budget for they call it River Valley Drive. I call it River Valley Clearwater Drive. So from our place, Sarikas and the Snai, back towards Rydell Street, there was going to be some lights put into the budget to kind of brighten the place up and make it more like daylight, where it reduces crime instantly. So a few weeks ago, we talked about that through a motion. So I didn't see it this evening, but that don't mean it's not going to happen. I just wondered what would be a buy-in from the municipality and the businesses to retain a bit of that grant to put it together towards a whole security scheme for downtown. Because you take a person like, for example, I guess through the chair, I'm just trying to make an example. I believe it's called Easy Term Auto, where there's old cars and stuff. And I know I see the guy feeding the people ice cream and stuff, and good enough. But in the nighttime, just back behind that store, and I checked today, like that whole alleyway, it'd be, it'd be Mr. Firefighters. It's just it's a place ready to burn, like, tires and oils and stuff. So as we develop these programs, I think we should, put more emphasis on the security and the compliance, I guess, to our own bylaws, so that we don't be stacking pallets and tires and jerry cans and stuff, because that just behind that Easy Term and the hotel, that whole back row, until you get to the old food bank, like there's tires up to the gates. So I think part of that program has to be, clean up what we have, and certainly, there's lots of good about spending money, but how we spend it, I guess, and where it comes from. So I guess through the chair, is it too late to emphasize that to be a retention on that grant towards safety in general?
Councilor McGrath, for clarity, are you the $2.6 million that we have already allocated in the budget? Are you suggesting that we use some money for other security measures in the downtown rather than use it for the downtown revitalization incentive program?
Well, no, I support the program, but like a chunk of that, like we talked about, like a chunk of that, whether it be 2 or 3% of that, go towards like a light up the area, if you will, for security purposes.
I think I know what you're saying, and I think Mr. Durocher in his presentation, and he said that he'll be coming back with the Downtown Revitalization Advisory Committee, and that was one of the things he pointed out that he would be coming back to council for, is looking for support for that. So I think you're on the same page as what Mr. Durocher was talking about as well.
And I know that, through the chair, Mr. Mayor, I know that they'd come back, but I'm thinking as we go forward, like it's not to put any more funding at it, but if we retain what we had, if it passes. But I see what you're saying. Fair enough. I just the emphasis, like again, we can make places look better, but if we don't keep on the compliance of people with their waste oils and tires and stuff, especially that end of town, then what we're doing is just we're printing up the elephant on one end of the road and then putting the garbage on the other side.
Yeah, I think that'll go to our recommended enforcement from our bylaw as well. Thanks, Councilor McGrath.
Thank you.
Councilor Grandison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair, just one, I guess, point with regards to something Mr. McGrath said. In terms of lighting down Clearwater, I would assume that in the flood mitigation that's going to be occurring, lighting would be part of that program. And we would create a standard for, because you're going to have between the road and the river, blind spots, all of that. I would assume that that would be included with the flood mitigation. Am I correct? Am I out to lunch? Like you got all along there, we're going to be doing that reach. We're going to be either building a road or creating a pathway. I would assume that we would create the appropriate lighting along the way. So it would just be absorbed in that project. I'm just asking. Okay, just because Mr. McGrath asked the question, that's where I thought it could be funded. So,
thanks, Councilor Grandison. Do you have any other questions, comments, or debate points? Councilor McGrath?
Thank you again, through the chair. Just back about 3, maybe 4 budgets ago, there was exactly what Councillor Grandison is talking about. So it started at Sarika's with a laundering of lights and stand-up facilities. But it is in the budget, just it hasn't been done. But I know that what I'm getting at is them lights by the river is not going to help at AMP. So as we're developing these grants, I just think that it'd be good for us and of course the business owners to identify and earmark a percentage of those grants that's dedicated towards lighting up the downtown core to prevent the dark places where we all know it's a home for trouble sometimes. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor McGrath. And I think that it'll even come back with your motion you put forward a few weeks ago with the downtown safety. So thank you, sir. Do you have any other questions, comments, debate points from council? Councilor Cardinal?
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to say, when do we actually take a step back and say no? That's all we've been doing is funding every darn thing and spending money and spending money. When do we actually say no? Everything that comes to this council, it's yes, yes, yes. When are we actually going to say no and move on? Thanks.
Thanks, Councilor Cardinal. Councilor Weigel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I just, Councillor Cardinal, I do agree with you on that statement, but this funding's already been approved from last year, and so they're using the reserves that they already have to be able to fund this, and so I don't believe this is new money being sent out. It's money that they already have, but thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Weigel. Any other questions, comments, debate points from council? I'm not seeing any. So again, I'll say I am supporting this motion, and one of the reasons is, as Councillor Weigel just mentioned, that the funding's already been approved and it's there. It's just to expand the program to reach some businesses that possibly didn't get it. I do see the improvement in the downtown, and I think our downtown has got kind of a bad rap for quite some time, but it has become more viable for people to move into the downtown. Councillor Cardinal, do you have something else?
Yeah, I just want to say 8 years, man, we're ahead of the game. 8 years, we've been at it. I mean, thanks.
I'll call for a vote. Thank Councillor McGrath. And Councillor Cardinal, you're against? Thank you. That's carried 9-1. Thank you, everyone. Right now, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we'll be back at 8:12. Thank you. Next, we have a report on the 2024 capital budget amendments. I'd like to invite Laura Ferguson, Corporate Services, to present, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Lori Farquharson, Chief Financial Officer. Administration has identified 3 capital projects to be submitted for capital budget amendment consideration. Council is the approving authority for the capital budget subject to provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility FIN 160. The capital budget amendments will result in an increase of $1.8 million to the 2024 and prior capital budget as outlined in the cash flow summary on attachment 2. Overall, these amendments will result in a net reduction of $3.2 million in the out years. The first item is a project amendment for the Regional Emergency Services Data Management System. Through the RFP process, Hexagon's on-call system was selected to replace the outdated FDM computer-aided dispatch system, which is crucial for modernizing 911 operations. This upgrade will enhance system reliability, improve emergency response times, and streamline dispatch processes. An additional $800,000 is required for the purchase, installation, and implementation of the upgraded hardware, which will be sourced from deferred revenue from the 911 grant. The second item is a project cancellation for the rural broadband in Fort Chipewyan. Upon extensive research into upgrades to rural broadband connections that are currently available on the market, it has been determined that the Fort Chipewyan upgrade cannot proceed at this time due to the complexity and extreme cost estimate for the suggested approach. Improvements have been made within Fort Chipewyan through the implementation of a smart hub. As well, administration has been informed that service improvement work for Fort Chipewyan is in progress at the federal level. Administration will continue to work with external internet service providers to monitor service offerings as well as pursue related grant funding opportunities. This amendment cancellation will release $4 million back into the Capital Infrastructure Reserve. The third and final item is a project cash flow request related to the service connections for rural water and sewer servicing. A number of factors have contributed to the challenge of identifying a precise number of connections that are anticipated each year and the associated cash flow required. To date, approximately 230 service connections have been installed, analyzing past connection trends and the number of applications submitted to date. It is estimated that the current funds will not be sufficient for 2024. This amendment is to cash flow $5 million from 2027 forward to 2024 to cover the anticipated number of connections. Administration is recommending that the 2024 capital budget amendments as summarized on Attachment 1, 2024 capital budget amendments, cancellation, and amendments net impact dated May 14, 2024 be approved, and that the revised cash flow of capital projects as summarized on Attachment 2, 2024 capital budget amendments, cancellation, and amendments cash flow summary dated May 14, 2024 be approved. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Lori. Do we have any questions from council? My question first, Lori, is that EMS, the upgrade for emergency services, is that in relation to us taking back the emergency EMS dispatch to the region? Is that the upgrade that the province wanted?
Through the chair to the chair, I'm not that familiar with the project, so I can't answer that, but I can certainly get back to you.
Sure, because I know there was upgrades we needed to get it expedited, and I think the program comes in effect middle of June is when we'll be taking it back. So I think I just wonder if that was the program that we needed. If you can find that out, or I can find it from Jody. Or thanks.
I'll follow up. Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Cardinal.
Thanks, Mayor. Broadband federal level. What's the communications from our behalf with that? Because that's a big deal.
Through the chair to Councillor Cardinal, can you clarify the question, please?
Well, you have information about some federal involvement. Technically, I think it's the first I've heard of it.
Through the chair to Councillor Cardinal, I don't have the specifics of the project details. I do know that there have been a lot of conversations regarding rural broadband. There are some very extreme complexities in order to expand the broadband activity up in Fort Chipewyan. I just don't have those details right now. I do know that the only suggested solution would be upwards of $60 million, and therefore we not in a position to be able to do that investment, but we are continuing to look at other opportunities.
So what would be a final conclusion of a finished product for something like this?
Well, through the chair to Councillor Cardinal, I'm not certain. There is no technology that can be brought into Fort Chipewyan. The option that was put forward was looking at going under the river and being able to have infrastructure in the river that could handle being frozen as well as the currents. It would have been substantial, and the Smart Hub option that they did install, I understand, has ensured that you have the minimum standard requirement for broadband activity in Fort Chip. So we're hoping that there may be other opportunities to increase the connectivity. I just don't have the details in front of me, but I can certainly work with my team to get some additional information for you.
I'd appreciate it. I think that I just would like to know more about the project. I guess the federal involvement. I kind of like, because I just like to know. I know that roads and these roads and stuff like that in Fort Chipewyan. I mean, I understand that it would cost quite a bit of money, but I noticed that you can't. You said we can't, but I'm sure that we could eventually. But at this time, I understand it's not doable. But I'd like some more feedback on that, please, and thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cardinal. Councillor Boussier.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Through the chair to Lori, just confirming the rural water and sewer ask. That's just moving money forward, right? It's not an additional ask. The budget is still the budget.
Correct. Through the chair to Councillor Boussier, we have approved funding, and what we're asking is to take some of the funding from 2027, bring it forward to 2024. So it's a cash flow adjustment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Boussier. Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, through the chair. Just a question to administration. Peeling back the onion on the broadband, when we take back the $4 million of our share, would that affect the rest of the rural areas? Because it was like a partnership with TELUS and the feds and the municipality at one point. It was. So would that put any of the other places in jeopardy?
Through the chair to Councillor McGrath, no, it would not.
Okay, so the $4 million you're extracting back, the federal funds are still there. So I guess if I may, through the chair, the advancement from 27 back to the rural water and store program, is that because there's more people getting connected early?
Through the chair to Councillor McGrath, right now, in 2023, we did actually have increased connections, and we had to take some funding from 2024 to cover off the 2023 expenses. It has been very difficult for them to estimate when people will actually connect, and therefore having an actual forecasted value has been very difficult. I would say it's a good news story that more people are connecting now, and the fact that they do need to bring forward funding is a positive statement.
Right, and through the chair, do you know right offhand from the day we started what the spend is at right now for rural water and sewer?
Through the chair to Councillor McGrath, I don't have that detail in front of me right now. I can certainly get it for you.
And then I appreciate that, not just for me, for the rest of the community. And when you come back with that, it'd be nice to, just identify the assets that come along with that spend, as in underground infrastructure and lift stations and stuff like that. Because the city will own those assets and have to run them. So, yeah, that'd be good if you could round that up for us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you, Councillor McGrath. Any other questions from council? I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Lori. Do we have any delegates to this item? Can I have someone make the motion? Councillor Grandison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the 2024 capital budget amendments as summarized on attachment 1, bracket 2024 capital budget amendments, / amendments and cancellation / net impact and brackets dated May 21st, 2024 be approved, and that the revised cash flow of the capital project as summarized on attachment 2, bracket 2024 capital budget amendments / amendments and cancellation cash flow summary dated May 21, 2024 be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Grandison. Thank you for a second, Councillor Boussier. Do we have any other debate, discussion, or comments from council? I'm not seeing any. I'll call for a vote. If you're voting online by hand, if you're in favor, raise your hand. Thank you, Councillor Ball. And anyone online against? Thank you. Councillor McGrath, sorry, did you vote for or against, Councillor McGrath?
Opposed, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, that's carried with 2 opposed. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to item 11.1, Councillor's motion. I'll ask Councillor Pacheco to read her motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas Fort McMurray, located in northern Alberta, is known for its oil sands and is also known as the economic engine of the country. And whereas vehicle access to Fort McMurray is very challenging with extreme weather conditions and shorter daylight hours in the winter, oversized vehicles, and wildlife making driving conditions very unsafe between Grassland and Edmonton. And whereas Highway 63 is among the most dangerous highways in Alberta, and whereas following the COVID-19 pandemic, our region has been greatly impacted with lack of direct flights and unsafe highways, making the region unstable. And whereas the tuning of the requested portions of Highway 63 and 28 has been in discussion since 2004, and other projects like Highway 686 are very important, but should not replace the needed priority to complete the tuning of the remaining sections of the highways from Grassland to Edmonton. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor of the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo collaborate with the other chief elected officials and the province of Alberta to raise awareness of this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pacheco. And thank you for the second, Councillor Boussier. Councillor Pacheco, you can speak to your motion now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm bringing this motion forward, and I believe most people in this region would readily agree with me. The range of travel needs for residents of our region, they range from medical needs, business, industry, pleasure, family, shopping, etc. And also for emergencies. On May 3rd, 2016, I was in Fort McMurray and I witnessed the evacuation of over 80,000 people. Most of us traveled on Highway 63 to come out of the region. On May 14th, 2024, we had partial evacuation of over 6,000 people. I stood on the 7th floor of this building watching the traffic jam one more time. There is need, and we need to address this need. Fort McMurray is known for the oil sands, and there is also the economic engine of this country and of this province, of course. The access to the city is challenging and could be unsafe. The extreme weather conditions and shorter daylights, we all can agree with that. Oversized vehicles due to travel by industry and other businesses, wildlife make driving conditions unsafe. It's been interesting fact that studies are underway to build high-speed rail between the cities of Calgary and Edmonton and other similar projects by the province, but this road has continued to be overlooked. Some and most factors that I described are things that are not within our control. For example, we cannot control the weather, and certainly the shortness of daylight and all of that. After COVID-19, it is noteworthy that lack of direct flights from Fort McMurray or to Fort McMurray added another layer to the challenge that we face. I applaud the government of Alberta, Mayor Bowman, MLAs, ministers, everybody that worked on Highway 686. It is a needed road as well. And I also want to point the attention to the fact that the twinned aspect, the twinned portion of Highway 63 actually has less traffic. I travel all the time on this road, and I hold my breath until when I get to the dualized portion of the road, like most of us do. We need to remember that all of us traveling on this road, when an accident happens and one lane is blocked, we end up blocking both ways or slow down everybody's travel, including those who are traveling for family emergencies, businesses, and even for pleasure sometimes could become something critical. So therefore, tuning of the remaining Highway 63 and Highways 28 toll from Grassland to Edmonton would help to make travel safer, faster, and it will also drive the economy between Edmonton and Fort McMurray. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bajoko. Do we have any delegates for this item?
We have no registered delegates for this item.
Thanks. Do we have any questions or comments from Council? Councilor Dogar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm a professional driver, driving on this highway for years, 2-3 years consecutively, and otherwise part-time as a truck driver and a taxi driver or a car. You know, I congratulate you, Councillor Banjoko, for presenting this. And this is extremely essential. We must do it. We must try to help. And thanks to all those who made this portion double lane up to Grassland. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilor Dogar. Councilor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair. As much as I like this idea, I would only support it if it wasn't at the expense of a secondary exit for our community, which I do believe is a priority for the provincial government, creating a secondary route out of our community. This is the same route. And personally, I've been in Fort McMurray since 1983. I think our roads are amazing. I think the twin part it cut a half an hour off our trips to Edmonton, and I think it's amazing. I would put my efforts politically, motivationally, and in every other way, getting a secondary road out of our community. That, Councillor Banjoko, you spoke of traffic on 63. If we had another exit, half the traffic would go that way, half the traffic would go that way, etc. That would actually clean things up, not doubling the highway. And the other factor is that all of these other communities that are represented by different councils, different elected people, it's their communities. So I don't know, I think this might be better suited as a RMA resolution as opposed to this course of action, but that's just my opinion. And I've got no problem supporting it if it doesn't take away from the secondary. There's only so much money the province has. And if they say we got $100 million to spend on a highway, we can make a second one or we can twin this one. I'll vote for the second exit all the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Grandison. Councillor McGrath? I think you're on mute, Councillor McGrath.
That's the best I ever heard. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair, what I guess my thought process is this. The member was amical to include the MLA, both MLAs, the MP, and then we're talking about Highway 55. So now you're through Lac St. Anne, Lac Lemiche, and Highway 28. And those projects were just bought to scale. So I think, just needs to be a coalition, if you will. And I believe the coalition, I don't know if it's still a member, industry and the municipality, but I think that's, I certainly support what you're trying to do, Councillor Banjiko, but we need the support of the other municipalities. And, without that, it's Highway 55, Highway 28. And I mean, the counties of Boyle and Lac La Biche, in those areas, it would be banding together and quite timely. There's the FMA that's coming up. So I think that just in light of the spend that's going to happen between the bucket wheels and the Fort McKay turnoff, and I think there's 10 major projects in the province now with transportation that's funded out till 27. And one of those projects is the bridge over Morinville, over the CN tracks. So, I'm okay with your motion. I would ask if you would consider including the letters of the adjoining municipalities and wards and our three other levels of government.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to echo my colleagues' comments. Councillor Grandison, with the secondary exit, I do believe that does create great safety in the region, and that also needs to be a massive priority. As well as Councillor McGrath's with creating a coalition with all the other communities for advocacy against the provincial government to get this done. The other piece that helps on the way to Edmonton is the industry piece. We have large pieces of equipment coming up the highway at a continuous rate, and we all know that a large tax base goes back from the industry to the Alberta government. So to create a larger tax base and for money to flow to the Alberta government, the more that we can do for industry to be able to get those pieces of equipment up here faster, safer, and without just moving people around and at their safety, I think would be great. So I will be supporting this. Thank you, Councillor Banjoko.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weigel. Councillor Dogar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to ask my colleague on my left, I could have asked slowly, but that is not appropriate. He means to say secondary highway or a ring road or developing Draper Road to the airport and connecting it and then to 881. No. What do you feel?
The secondary road North.
North?
East-west connector.
East-west towards Grand Prairie, you mean?
Either way, it's a secondary road out of Fort McMurray.
Secondary road is easy, Draper Way is easy, and 881 and
well, the government's priority is the secondary road, east-west connector.
Okay, fine. Economically, that is better.
Thanks. Do we have any other questions or comments or anything from council? Councillor Stroud.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Councillor Banjoka, as this motion is a consideration for awareness, I'm fine with this. At the present time, we do not have an egress road for Fort McMurray as there's only one highway in and out. This to me is of much greater importance. This comes to the forefront in a lot of residents' minds due to the fire we presently experience. Council is also fighting for an all-weather road to Fort Chipewyan and improvements to Highway 881, which are in our region and a high priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stroud. And I may repeat some of the stuff you just said. But yeah, so I definitely, I'll support your motion, Councillor Majoko, and reiterate what Councillor McGrath has said, that we need to get all the stakeholders, communities between Atmore and Edmonton that they're agreeing on. So we're not advocating for a highway through their community if they don't want it. So I think that'll be an important piece. And once we get that, we definitely advocate together, whether it's at RMA, AMA, or FMA we're going to the next 2 weeks. But we do continuously advocate for the twinning of the highway between Syncrude and Fort McKay, 686, which is a secondary route. Councillor Granison mentioned improvements to 881 that we're constantly pushing for, including the bridges there. Egress road from our rural communities, all-weather road to La Loche. So we'll guys support this with the stakeholders buy-in, but also knowing that the last meeting I had with Mr. Dreeshen, what he did commit to was looking at what comes out of this region economically and putting back into it, supporting that in the transportation sector, supporting that with us. So that is on the table. So I'll definitely support that. So if we have no more questions or comments from council, we'll call for a vote.
Okay. I wanted to respond.
Councillor McGrath in favor. Councillor Cardinal. And Councillor Cardinal is opposed. That's carried 9-1. Thank you, everyone. Moving on next, Councillor's motion. I'll ask Councillor Dogart to read his motion. Mic on, Councillor Dogart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry for my colleagues. Some of are very annoyed with me. I move that administration, as part of ongoing cost-saving measures, no longer arrange for council dinners during council meetings, and that council members who have to travel to Ward 1 from other wards submit receipts or claim a dinner meal allowance on council meeting days. This is my motion. Now, should I give my, this is for the austerity purpose?
Not right now.
Excuse me?
Not yet. Not yet.
We just need a seconder.
Anybody seconder?
If we don't have a seconder, that will just end right here.
Nobody seconded? Oh, seconded. But there's one hand. McGrath.
Councillor McGrath seconding it.
Okay. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Councillor McGrath.
Okay.
Councillor Dogar, you can speak to your motion.
Okay, thank you very much. My honorable colleagues, this is just for austerity purpose. I know that $1,000 a day in a meeting, that is maximum that we consume, but it's symbolically giving an impression to everybody that we should save some money. May it be little or more. We are representatives of the people, of the residents. Residents come here, we don't offer them lunch or dinner. In the same way, administration, very honorable and who make us move and everything, they are not served with lunch or dinner. You go to any place, any organization, people bring their own lunch or dinner. Even food organization like Tim Horton, McDonald's, they also bring their own food. So we should give the sacrifice, what all we do, and a little bit austerity, and it will go a good message. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Dogar. Do we have any delegates to this item?
We have no registered delegates for this item.
Thank you. Councillor Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through the chair. Thank you, Councillor Dogar. I appreciate the sentiment. I have a question for you on it, though. If the reason behind this is to save money as a whole, what would be the reason to submit receipts from the other wards for the meal allowance as well?
Thank you much. Good question. I was expecting it. My brother, listen, those who come from the outside, from Genevieve, from Anzac, best as from Chippewa, they need our more respect. You know, even this $1,000 is nothing as far as saving is concerned. Idea is to give a good message to the community that we are with you at this difficult time, and a precedent should be set. And those councillors who come from the outside, you know, they need more respect. You asked my brother Cardinal, he has been respectful to me. I had been to him, and so as Madam coming from Anzac. You know, I went to her on Christmas Day also, day before yesterday also. You know, that is a way of giving respect. You know, that is what I mean. Receipts means they should be given. You know, and the administration thought easy way of giving is they buy their own, because, you know, two girls, they are busy for administration to arrange for the lunch. So that schedule for those two girls, you know, they should be out. So make it easy. This is my point of view.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I got a question for administration. Is there a per diem for travel for councillors outside of the region on this, or outside of Ward 1?
Thank you for the question. Through the chair, the way council's remuneration policy is written, it states that when you're traveling for council business, so in this case coming into the region, you would submit your receipts, which is itemized, or you could claim your dinner allowance for $33.
Thank you. And then, no, I appreciate it. Thank you. And so I believe there's already something in place for that, Councillor Dogar. That's just all. There's something in place already for them to redeem their or submit their receipts for the dinner allowance. And then just the second thing, just for clarity, as we're talking, where did the number $1,000 per meeting come from? Is that just an estimate of yours?
Just my, you know, that is just my estimate.
Sure.
You know, your hotel may be giving cheaper Earls.
I don't think we have Earls every time,
Sorry
but I appreciate
business. It is hurting your business.
And so is it possible to ask administration what the, just to confirm that we are not spending close to $1,000 on meals per meeting?
In administration, only one is affected, CEO. He will agree with my point of view.
Through the chair, we're spending on average per person $19.57, which equates to about $215-ish per meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Weigel. Councillor Stroud.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman, and thank you, Councillor Dogar, for your motion. Council meetings on average range in a time frame of 6 to 8 hours. Providing a meal to all council members during this time is both fair and equitable. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I reply?
No,
Mr. Mayor?
we're going to hear from the other councillors. Councillor McGrath. Sorry, Councillor Dogar. Councillor McGrath.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to peel back the onion a little through the chair. I appreciate the honourable member bringing his motion forward about probably pay for more suppers to the external, and just so the public don't get shocked this evening. I think we had a feed of Mary Brown's a day, probably cost us a couple of $100. There's 11 members that serve the city, and all in, meals, travel, meetings. We're about 0.5% of the budget. We're in for about $1.2 million. That's about 3 salaries. So I certainly wouldn't support, I don't believe as grown individuals, because when we break bread together, we talk together. It's like sitting down at the table with the 12 disciples. We talk, and that's the only time we talk, is when we have a meal. And that meal is like Sunday after Mass. So it's not about the $1,000. It's not about the 200. It's about 11 individuals that 10 are part-time, and we have a CEO and a CAO. Have that time together where we sit and eat. I've never ate no caviar or any big expensive meals. I think that, in fact, what the public should know, the odd time we have Lady J brings in a meal, Kendrick brings in a meal. I've seen Fort McKay bring in a meal. We have potluck. So I don't want anybody out there thinking that we're eating $200 meals on council nights. And I think with the state of the region, there'd be better things that we could champion. And I just find it appalling, if you will, because many times I left my family behind me and it was a nice roast or a nice turkey in the oven. They ate alone and I ate with council. And we had a meal at the school board as well, because meals bring people together. And that's how we unite ourselves. So for me, it's not a meal. It's about asking the guy how his family is, how his wife is. It's the only time we get. So I certainly, it's almost a shame that we bring up something so small, because it's not. I just don't get politics sometimes, because everywhere I went, I got a meal. That's probably half my check. So I won't support it simply because meals bring people together. And if you want to bring your own lunch, just bring your own lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McGrath. Councilor Grandison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair, I too will not support this. When I teach, I have to leave early. I get here, and we go right into a meeting. And sometimes we're here till 10 o'clock. I'm not quite sure that you want a bunch of hangry councillors making decisions with taxpayers' money. I don't think it's unreasonable. I've been here, I think, we've had Subway, tremendously expensive meal. And we've had, like Mary Brown's today, like, we're not eating extravagance on taxpayers' dollars. That's not what it's about. It's about making sure that councillors are fed so we can we're part-time councillors. That's what we are. And some people have full-time jobs, and they leave their full-time jobs and they come here. And when I leave my job and come here on the days that I work, I'm semi-retired, but I don't have time to make a lunch, to go home and eat. I come straight here. So I appreciate the fact that I can eat, and it helps ensure that I make good decisions on part of the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Grandison. Councilor Banjoko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Doga, for bringing this forward. I actually thought it was a joke, and I asked you if it was a joke. And I don't want to repeat all the points, but to add to what Councillor Grandison said, we've been here till after 11, and Mayor would say, let's go home. So we come from work, stay here till 11 o'clock. I want to have the, if you call it luxury or the, the flexibility to go back there and eat something, because sometimes we get home close to 12 midnight. And we're not going to go get supper at that time. And certainly we can bring food if we need to. I can bring you some spicy food, if that will help. Councillor Doga. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Banjoko.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions or comments or debate points?
Yes, mine is done. I'm waiting for it.
Kendrick's up there.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor Dogar, and then Kendrick.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As far as, about my passion is concerned for the 2 months. For the last 2 months, I'm bringing my own lunch, set my personal example, and only then I'm presenting it. Very good point brought out by Councillor McGrath, sitting together and eating. Yes, it creates a love and affection. Even if you bring your own food from the house, from your home, that also creates love and discussions. And my food is still there in my lunch bag. So that is not the point. Okay, money is not 200, whether 1,000. It is a gesture of respect and love. We raise taxes. We put taxes. People are uneasy. And, we are not giving lunch to administration. We are not giving lunch to the people who sit here. And then we should also give some personal examples too. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Dover. Councillor Cardinal?
No, I just wanted to say thank you to the ladies that always take care of us and bring us the meals. I appreciate it. It doesn't ever go unnoticed from me. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Cardinal. That was nice. Thanks. Just in closing, I just want to make it clear to the community that Councillor Dogar made the statement of $1,000, and the actual cost of the meals averages $19. So there's not some extraordinary meals going on here. Probably the best meal we had actually was Councillor Ball's smoked brisket. To allocate for that, so I won't be supporting this motion either. With that, I'll call for a vote. It won't accept the no. So, Councillor Cardinal, Councillor McGrath? Both against, thank you. And that is defeated 1 for, 9 against. Thank you, everyone. Next item agenda is motion regarding window sign provisions. I'll actually vacate my chair and switch with Councillor Brynjoko.
Did I get muted there or something?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Um.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And so we would be voting by show of hand. Somehow the system doesn't recognize me. So the next item on the agenda is item number 9.3, which is Mayor Bowman's motion regarding an amendment to fees, rates, and charges bylaw number 23/022. Mayor Sandy Bowman, could you please read out your motion? Oh, Okay.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Benjoko. Yes. I move the administration prepare bylaw amendment to Schedule K of the fees, rates, and charges bylaw 23/022 to waive fees associated with 10 quotations A, signed development permit until December 31st, 2024, to allow residents and business owners to come in compliance with the new signage regulations under bylaw 24/002, being a land use bylaw amendment, consolidated signage regulations.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Who is seconding the motion? Councillor Weigel, thank you for seconding the motion. Mayor Bowman, thank you for bringing up this motion, and I truly appreciate it. As leaders, I think it's a good thing that we receive feedback and act on them. So thank you for taking the lead about this. So, okay. Mayor Sandy Bowman, you may now speak to your motion.
Thank you. The reason for bringing this forward is with every decision we make, we have good decisions. Hopefully we make the best decision we can possibly. It comes with ripple effects throughout the community. With our best intentions, we find out issues after the fact. This is one of those cases where we discussed this before, that we want the bylaw enforced to make sure the community is as bright and accessible as it can be. And with that, with the signed bylaw we passed, which we went through very thoroughly over the course of, I think, since we started this being on council our term, we've been at this sign bylaw. And one of the things that we did notice is that the compliance issues that were going forward, and so a lot of businesses in the community weren't compliant but didn't know they weren't compliant, and sometimes small things. And receiving the new bylaw, they've realized some of these things, which most of them have no problem changing, but that comes with permit fees now that we didn't realize that they would be responsible for. So I think, as with anything, we move forward. I think this is just a good gesture of council to allow businesses to become compliant without those extra fees added on. As we earlier tonight passed the Downtown Revitalization Incentive Program, it seems to come almost two-sided to give businesses a revitalization grant, and the other side try to take fees for them improving the signage of their businesses. So that's just one thing. And also, as we move forward, I've been also speaking with Plan Development, as well as our communications department on different ways they can start communicating with those businesses that are involved and explain it to them and get their feedback as well on the signage bylaws that we've passed. So I hope council supports me on this. I think it's a small gesture to the community as we look at their expenses that occur with becoming compliant.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Understanding we may have members of the public who wish to speak on this item, we'll now move to delegates if we have any. Okay, I think we have one. Mr. Robbie Pickard, please. Please introduce yourself for those who don't know you, and 5 minutes to speak.
Just 5. Hi, I'm Robbie Pickard. I just want to support Mayor Bowman in this motion. I think this actually was really good. I think if you look back, I think there was a real good compromise made. Lance's points got put together as well as the businesses, and I think there's a happy middle ground. The part that I will criticize, the communication was poor. I have a lot of clients that felt all of a sudden that even though the bylaw is actually better, when they started enforcing it, they felt very blindsided. And I think, audio designs, for instance, they're going to have to change their windows. Same with the vet clinic downtown. These are, I call them unintended consequences. I don't think anyone wanted to make this harder, and I actually think their windows were quite nice. So I think some kind of compromise to make it good. We are a community that wants to do business. At the same time, I'm running the 4G Tempo marketing for Gloucester, and we're going to need to put a ton of signs up. And now we have the freedom to do legal signs, and we are researching on and we're going to invest a ton of money in new signs that are going to be legal. That being said, I think a middle ground approach and some compassion and better communications. Businesses, they don't have time for this. They're too busy worrying. Like the vet clinic, there's a shortage of vets. Audio Designs is busy doing their stuff. You got to reach out to them a little bit harder and get FaceTime. And it's not always easy, but when you're running a business, you're just busy running your business, and it's been chaotic. So I support this motion, and I compliment you guys. I think this was a very fair fair bill, but there still could be a little room for tweaking, but I think it's good.
Thank you, Mr. Pickett. And please remain seated for questions from council. Thank you. So I'll start with mine. You think the time between now and end of December is adequate for businesses to be able to comply?
I would think so. I mean, you might want to make it, there's room for special cases or something if it's complicated, but that seems fair. And try to find a way to make them comply. So give them an opportunity to comply so it doesn't necessarily throw them off too much. Like the Petro-Canada, people complain about their signs, but I'm a huge supporter of that family, and I hope that they don't have to rip a bunch of their signs down. I hope they can replace them because that's a huge moneymaker for them and a business that supports this community in ways that, that family's been amazing. So I just think if there's a way to make it happen, and the bylaw is fair.
Thank you, Mr. Pickett. Councillor Doga?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
You see, I'm just asking what is the opinion of the administration on it?
Through the chair to the council, or to the question, I think the comments that have been made by Robbie Picard are more than fair. In terms of reaching out to the community and businesses, we certainly could have done a more proactive approach, and that would have included picking up the phone and having more of a face-to-face. There was a comment made about unintended consequences, which I think is very accurate. There were quite a few changes in the bylaw. Most of the changes do give businesses more flexibility and options to start having legal third-party advertising. But when it comes to the vinyl stickers, that component of businesses being non-compliant over many years and them now having to follow the bylaw does come with a cost. And to Mayor Bowman's motion, us waiving the fees for signage permits until the end of December, I think is a great compromise and will help encourage businesses and make it a little bit more easier to come into compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doga. Mayor Bowman, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify for council and for as well as for Mr. Robbie Picard. The motion isn't about really the signed bylaw. It's just about the fees associated with the bylaw. So right now we're just debating about those fees. That right now the bylaw is where it is and it stands that way. If possibly later administration comes back after our P&D is discussing and is talking with the businesses and sees where we could tweak it, they could come back with some recommendations for us to change it. But right now we're just debating those fees being waived until the end of this year, so that businesses can become compliant. So I just want to make it clear so my colleagues, we don't get off. We tend to get down rabbit holes sometimes, and I just want to take it back to the motion just refers to the fees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Councillor Weigel.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through the chair, there's a comment made about downtown businesses, and I want to reiterate or even ask the question. These fees affect all businesses across the region equally. Is that correct, Mayor Bowman? Turn on his mic.
Yes, absolutely. And the reason I mentioned downtown was just a slip, just because the businesses that have contacted me have been downtown businesses.
Awesome.
Thanks, Councillor Weigel.
No, I appreciate that. I'll be supporting this. I think the idea behind the sign bylaw was to create a better aesthetic area, and I think this accomplishes it. It was never meant to be a money grab, and so I think this is a great step forward and just a good sign of faith to be able to come compliant. So I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weigel. Councillor McGrath.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Bumshow, through the chair. I appreciate the fees being waived to allow people that are not in compliance, but I guess it might not be the opportune time, but I'll be scorned if I'm wrong. It won't be the first time. But my understanding was, and I visit some of the communities, my understanding was the grandfathering of the non-compliance, or, you know, the way it was that evening, that allowed, I guess, to move forward, and then the new bylaw came in place. So the fees for compliance would be along with the new applications. If that motion of grandfathering got parked or sidelined somehow, then I'd ask administration, if that's the case, then I'm ready to put it back the next time around. And it kind of ties in with the fees, because after that motion, the compliance would be your new application process that keeps people compliant. So I'm here to support the businesses, not just one company. We've managed, I don't know, 13 signs on Highway 63 that get changed once or twice a year. So I believe that I'm glad that you're taking that approach. But at the end of the day, I don't want nobody to forget the commitment we made to the community with the motion of grandfathering. And if that got altered or parked, then I guess I'll find out in the coming days.
Thank you, Councillor McGrath. Any other questions from Council? Okay. Do we have any other delegates then? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pickett. Thank you for coming. Councillor Stroud? For debate. Okay. Councillor Stroud, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Banjoko. Council's strategic plan is to support local businesses, and this is a positive way and approach to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stroud. Thank you. Any other questions? Any further questions from Council on the line? Debates? Comments? Okay, good. None. Okay, so now Mayor Bowman, any closing remarks? Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Banjoko. The only thing I'm closing is just I hope Council supports this. I just think it's the right thing to do. It's not going to be a huge loss for revenue for the community, but it can be a huge tax on businesses that go month to month and having to add this extra cost on. So I hope Council supports this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I certainly will be supporting this motion. Seeing no further questions, I'll call for a vote.
In favor.
All in favor? Okay.
In favor.
Okay. Thank you. And that was carried unanimously. None opposed. Thank you. Mayor Sandy Bowman, you can now resume the chair. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes today's meeting. But Councillor Dogar, you wanted to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is about the fire and evacuation. So I took initiative and I followed my evacuees at Lakla Beach and Cold Lake also. While going to Lakla Beach, on my en route, I stopped for some time at Anzac also, Genevieve also, Conklin also, because everybody was in distress because of the fire being very close, to share their feelings. I feel that we as leaders, we should be with the community and try to share their feelings. That is my experiences of 2016 wildfire when I stayed three days in Laklabish, and one day in Edmonton, one in Calgary. So the idea is to have a unity. For unity, you have to give some personal example too. No, I know the favorite question of people. People has to ask how is their property, and they feel very happy. So before going, I went to had a trip of Beacon Hill, Abasand, with the being escorted with police. They were very kind to support me. I thank all first responders, firefighters, and police. They were very alert and very cooperative. And some people, if somebody wanted to get in, they used to escort it. So the favorite question was, how is our property? And people were very happy to know once I said that I have seen your property. And they were very happy, extremely happy. And the best thing I want to tell you is that CAO Laklavich came and said hello to me and offered me all the facilities which he could. I thanked him. I went to his office and he came out to receive me and say bye to me. Then I went to mention about Cold Lake, mayor and the CAO. They were so keen to see me and they came out of their office to receive me and they explained me everything where the evacuees were. They were in 4 different hotels. They explained me with sketches and maps. And they were extremely happy that elected people from 6 hours place and has come and you people are concerned, and they extended their good feelings for the community also and for the council also. And they also asked that our people, Cold Lake people also, a lot of people work here. And I extended that any time they have some problems, they should contact us. We as a council would try to help them. So idea of telling all this is for being unity, we have to show unity also. We have to display unity also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm trying to bite my tongue, but I don't know who Councillor Dogar was talking to, but the people I talked to were not at all happy with him being in their neighborhood. I understand that he took a hotel room in Laklabish that should have been used by either by people who were evacuated or by municipal staff. And I heard the exact opposite of everything that he absolutely presented, that he wasn't welcome and they weren't happy with having him there. This is a job for the professionals. They're the ones who deal with the evacuees. It's not my job as a politician to do that. It's the job of the professionals to do it. It's not my job to interfere. So I heard the exact opposite. So I maybe talked to different people, but certainly the people I talked to were absolutely, categorically not pleased.
Thank you, Councillor Grass. And Councillor McGrath.
Unmute.
Through the chair, I just want to say this. Myself and Lance and Lady J, we were here 8 years ago. My mom passed away because of lots of bullshit on the news and stuff. But I'd like to commend Jody Butts and yourself for a constant message to keep the calm in the community. You got to take those kids that are graduating this year, you know, in grade 5, they were going with their moms and dads. So I would personally say thank you to you, Mr. Bowman, and Jody Butts and his crew and the people on the ground. And I never got elected to stonewall the guy. We all make mistakes, but we all live in a community where that brought up a lot of memories for a lot of people. So I thank you personally for keeping the message straight, and for the school boards for getting their kids out. I think that, you know, Jody Butts, the first responders, the volunteers, you know, I see Lance and Stu and them around the nighttime. You know, all we can do is stay out of the way of progress, but be there to support the elders and the kids. And I think we've done that job. And I know the chiefs were updating their people. And I think living through the 2 experiences, I'm convinced a cool head makes for a solid community. So I thank you all sitting around the table. And, you know, I will say this. Lance's sister lost her husband today, and that's got to be the fifth one with Mr. Cardinal and those guys around that crescent. So when we're bickering back and forth about a hamburger or a visit, remember that the hand you shake today, you might not be around again tomorrow. So I thank everybody for getting us through this week.
Thank you, Councilor McGrath. And with that, we'll conclude this evening's meeting. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
God bless you all. Bye.